if socialism or social democracy is so amazing, why don't people go to those countries first before they come here?
Well, so
Patrick Bet-David completely slams woke nut Kyle Kulinksi live on the PBD podcast as Patrick Bet-David asks Kyle Kulinksi one simple question that upsets his whole argument about socialism being so great with facts. So let's check out this clip with Patrick Bet-David slamming woke Kyle Kulinksi.
Sell me the dream on, hey, Patrick, you're 22 years old. I'm a regular guy. You know, my parents divorced. I don't have a lot of money. My dad's a cashier at a 99-cent store. I came from Iran. I lived at a refugee camp. I'm a regular guy. There's nothing about me that I'm coming with family money, any of this stuff. Sell me the dream. Hey, Patrick, you ought to one day, ... Sell me that dream. What does that look like?
Well, I mean, I think you should do whatever it is that you want to do. And I think you should be able to have a shot to do that fairly. So in other words, I don't think you should go bankrupt if you get medical bills. I don't think you should, have student loan debt that's so extensive that you can't ever pay it back. And by the way, you also can't file for bankruptcy on it because that's the way that they wrote the laws. I don't think people should be loaded up to the brim with credit card debt. Credit card debt is at a record high right now. I just read a stat the other day, 63% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So really, to sell you on the dream, I would honestly just point at some of the Scandinavian countries and say, look, they haven't eliminated capitalism. What they've done is they've harnessed the good parts of capitalism and mixed it in with the good parts of socialism so that they have, an intelligent hybrid where somebody who's 22 years old, just getting out of college, can have a chance to do whatever they want and make it.
So, okay, so and I rebuttal because let's just say there's a classmate sitting there and his dad's an executive at IBM, hypothetically, and he's doing $600,000 a year and he lives in a nice community. Yep. He says, so Kyle, if my dad's told me if these Scandinavian countries are so great, how come you're not moving there? And why is it that 40 million immigrants choose to come to America? And why don't they choose to go to some of these countries? What do you tell that 22-year-old smart aleck?
Well, why I'm not going there is because it's fucking cold. I'm in Miami, and I'm enjoying being in Miami right now.
So if it was warm, you would go, is what you're saying?
No, because I love my country. I love America. Whenever I criticize America, it's coming from a place of, I want to try to improve it and make it better. I don't think everything about this country is bad or wrong, but I think that there are things we can do to improve it. And, there's a very famous quote from one of the founding fathers, dissent is the highest form of patriotism. In the same way that if, God forbid, we saw one of our kids behind a dumpster smoking crack behind an Arby's, we'd be like, you know what? We're going to try to get them some help. We're going to try to get you in rehab. We're going to work on this. We're going to fix this. It's that same mindset that you apply to the country. It's, when you look at some of the things going on in this country, you say, this can't continue. I mean, we have 45,000 Americans that die every year because they don't have access to basic health care. That's something we can fix. And there's a lot of work put into convincing people that it's just a law of nature and there's nothing we can do about it. No, there's a lot we can do about it.
Okay, so let's stay on that. Hang on one second. I want to stay on this. So I want to go to the 22-year-old and selling the dream to this kid. So going back to it, I don't know who we had here on the podcast, but somebody recommends a restaurant to you. How do you and I judge a restaurant at noon? Like, let's say, hey, you know what? I've never been to Rifle before. Let's go there to eat for lunch. How do you and I judge a great restaurant?
How the food tastes, how the atmosphere is. And
then, okay, so the atmosphere meaning what? If the place is packed at noon and there's 100 people there and 20 people waiting to get inside, they're doing something right, okay? If you and I go to a restaurant at night and you're like, there's a restaurant in L.A., Rafi's Place, I go there all the time. If you go there on Mother's Day, it's a 3-hour wait, okay? Every day it's busy. It doesn't matter when you go there, right? If anybody says anything bad about the restaurant, like to say, well, my thing is I want to make this restaurant better because I think this restaurant can do, if they put the chairs this way and it's not fair to the fact that the employees and the busboys and da-da-da-da-da, and I'm like, yeah, dude, but
it's a good restaurant.
But it's not a good restaurant because you and I have an opinion that's a good restaurant. It's a good restaurant because it's always flipping packed, right? So if America was, and I know this is a random analogy I'm using, but if America was a restaurant, America is so packed and it's got a waiting list that if it's so bad with the existing ideas that it has, why do so many people still want to come here and not anywhere else?
Well, exactly. And that's a great point by Patrick Bet-David to Kyle Kulinksi and all of these other woke nuts on the left that, want to have so many criticisms about America and change so much and radically just strip up, the fundamentals that built this country and try to rework everything in a completely different way. But they have places like that over in Europe. They have countries that are far more socially democratic and, socialized over there. And yet none of them go out of their way to move there. It's always the argument that, America is so terrible and so bad, and there's so many critiques and so much wrong stuff like that. But yet you have other places in the world that envision the values that, Kyle Kulinski and other people like them hold dear, but they never want to pack up, get up, and move. They always want to stay here. And yeah, there's always a waiting line. There's always a massive waiting line waiting to get into America. But yet these people on the left always want to trash America, always want to rip on it for, how racist it is and how terrible it is. But yet all of these people from all over the world, no matter their cultural background, no matter what, like Patrick Bet-David from Iran, no matter what, more people want to come to America than anything else. And so regardless of whatever your opinion is or how you feel, that's how people all over the world view America. They would rather come to America than anywhere else. They want to leave their countries. They want to leave their socialist countries, or they're worse off dictator countries, whatever. But everyone wants to come to America before anywhere else in the world. And if that doesn't prove to you that America is absolutely the number one desired place that people all over the world want to be, and that's because how good America really is, I don't know what else does, folks. I think it's very common sense, but great point by Patrick Bet-David. Hit that like button if you're enjoying the video, and let's get back in.
There's a very simple answer to that question, which is if you look at the places that a lot of these people are fleeing, they've been absolutely obliterated. They've been destroyed. So a lot of these countries have been ravaged by the drug war, whether it's, I think in Honduras, I read a fact a couple years ago, in Honduras, there's more violence than there was in Iraq at the peak of the Iraq war. So
it's a pretty crazy place.
I'm going to try to flee that. Yeah. I don't know about you. I'm trying to flee that. I'm going to try to take care of my kids. Mexico, similar situation. You have these drug cartels. Effectively, with help from our policy, we've made these narco states, south of us.
Yeah.
And so you have these, gangster states that are run by drug cartels, because what we've done is we did the war on drugs. We made it illegal. What happens when you make it illegal is it gets pushed underground to the black market. That's how you make the drug cartels more powerful. The same thing happened here with prohibition when it came to the mafia. We made the mafia way more powerful because we decided to make alcohol illegal. That's when they got their most power and wealth. And so a similar thing happened with the drug war. What I would do is, number one, stop intervening in those countries militarily, and that's a long conversation we could have about the history of the U.S. intervening in that area. And number two, let's end the drug war. So in other words, just kind of take our boot off the neck of a lot of these countries and make it so that people want to stay there. Because honestly, I really believe this. I think a lot of the people who are coming here, if they felt like their home country was safe and clean and okay, then they wouldn't want to come here. I think in many cases it's a desperation type move.
But it's not just Honduras or Mexico. It's like okay, you're half Italian and you're half Polish. Is it Polish or?
Yeah. So my mom's mom is from Italy, basically, and on my dad's side, it's more of my last name Kulinski is a Polish last name, but I think it's a little more confusing than that.
You got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I got a little bit of everything.
I mean, even think you take your Italian, right? You take Jews, you take anything else you take. If America is so bad that some people sell it as being so bad, why do people keep coming here? What is so like, okay, when we were in Iran, we had options. People were going to Spain. Some were going to Australia. Some were going to this. Only because they couldn't make it to America. But everybody's number one on the list was to come to America. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like they wanted to go anywhere else. Again, going back, that is my biggest argument, where if America is so bad, if capitalism is so bad and abusive, why do so many people who are actually leaving an abusive environment are willing to come to a place that offers capitalism, where a person who has not got the last name of Mitt Romney, his last name is Bet-David, my parents haven't given me a penny. Last time I got an allowance, I was 14 years old. I'm not an allowance. I don't even know what allowance is, to be honest. I'm not even being sarcastic. I don't know what an allowance is, right? And so I come up here, I'm like, dude, I don't give a shit if you give me allowance. I'm just happy to be here. And I'm going to bring my Middle Eastern work ethic, and I'm banking on something's going to happen to me. I don't have the money to go to school. I don't have the grades to go to school. Maybe I'm going to go in the military, get my act together, be away from some of these guys that are doing drugs, because a lot of my friends were, ecstasy, pot. They were selling. They were doing, like, I'm just got to get away from them. So I go into the military, and then I come out, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn I was a bodybuilder. I'm going to learn how to sell. This is my way out. So again, for me, it goes back to the same thing. If socialism or social democracy is so amazing, why don't people go to those countries first before they come here?
Well, so
Yeah, folks, no matter which way you cut it, Patrick Bet-David is exactly right. America is the number one place that everyone wants to go. If they are fleeing, moving, or going anywhere, they want to come to America. And Kyle Kulinski, for all of his supposed intelligence that he wants to give himself, fails to see, like, okay, you want to end the drug war because you just want to give in and let all these terrible examples happen. If you want to see what happens when you end the drug war, look at San Francisco. Look at California, look at LA, look at the Philadelphia, look at all these places that are just drug ravaged by hard drugs that are just destroying people's lives in large swaths of the population. I mean, San Francisco, you can't even walk on the sidewalk without stepping on someone else's excrement. Literally, that's how bad San Francisco is, to the point that it's destroying business, it's destroying the community. No one wants to go there. Businesses are shutting down. Like, you can argue, I get the argument, about alcohol and all that. The effects of that are wildly different than all of the other stuff. I mean, we can have a society with alcohol and we can make do, but with hard drugs, no, that is radically different. And if you want to see how terrible they end up, all you have to do is look at these leftist socialist places like California, Oregon, Portland, all of these places, and you will see the cities just ravaged by the consequences of their own policies. And that's the type of America that Kyle Kulinski is arguing for. But folks, thanks for watching. Put in the comments what you think about what Patrick Bet-David had to say, slamming Kyle Kulinski's woke, just insane position, for all his criticisms about America and not having the balls to actually go to the places that he says is better than the one he lives in. Thanks for watching again. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.